The hunt continues. Police are again searching for Gabby Petito's fiance as we expect new details about her death.
Tracking the next chance for a few showers as we head into the overnight.
It's a love letter to a thriving community in Queens. New York Live takes us on the food tour that's giving back in Elmhurst. This is News 4 Now for September 21st. I'm Adam Cooperstein, and new details continue to emerge in the Gabby Petito case. An autopsy is being performed on what are believed to be her remains found at a campground in Wyoming. And now investigators have resumed their search for her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, who slipped away after being named a person of interest in her disappearance. News 4's Paisley Cheng is in Venice, Florida with the latest.
Police officers in all-terrain vehicles headed into the Carlton Reserve to resume their search for Brian Laundrie. The terrain is unforgiving. Searchers are waist-deep in water in many areas and wading through alligator and snake-infested swamps. The search resumed this morning, one day after the FBI raided Laundrie's family home, removing computers, hard drives, and cell phones. Laundrie is wanted for questioning after his fiancée, 22-year-old Gabby Petito, was found dead in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. The two had been on a cross-country road trip. Laundrie returned home on September 1st without Gabby. FBI agents towed his car yesterday. This is the same car that Laundrie's parents say he drove to the preserve last Tuesday to take a hike. When he didn't come home Wednesday, his parents say they drove to the preserve, saw the car, and brought it home. They didn't report him missing until last Friday. Back in Wyoming, where Gabby's remains were discovered on Sunday in a remote camping area, the coroner is expected to start the autopsy to determine how she died. Laundrie is not facing charges at this point in the investigation.
President Biden has wrapped up his first address as president at the United Nations General Assembly here in Manhattan. He touched on everything from climate change to tensions with China and the hunger crisis.
We're back at the table in international forums, especially the United Nations, to focus attention and to spur global action on shared challenges.
All week, world leaders are going to be crisscrossing Midtown to the UN building on the east side, so be prepared for major traffic jams as usual. President Biden's speech comes as he faces criticism over Afghanistan. He also differentiated himself from President Trump, putting out a message of international unity. Biden also announced a plan to get more COVID vaccines to poorer countries. And on China, he said the U.S. is not seeking a new Cold War. Attendance this year has been smaller than usual because of COVID, with many attending virtually. An elementary school in Westchester was abruptly shut down, and not because of COVID. The Ridge Street School in Rybrook was closed indefinitely on Friday for safety reasons. According to the state education department, construction work has left that school without working fire alarms and sprinklers. Students are now going to learn remotely for the time being. It's not clear at this point when students are going to return to the classroom. Incredible video shows a race car driver from New Jersey crashing into the woods at 100 miles per hour, and it's really amazing he survived.
I wasn't really stopping and just hit the brakes at that point and tried to turn left as much as I could, and from that point on, it just pretty much had to hang on for the ride.
Joey Bailey's helmet camera caught that frightening ordeal. The 24-year-old Monroe native disappeared off the track during a race in New Hampshire over the weekend. It was raining at the time, and Bailey says his gas pedal got stuck. Bailey says he suffered some back pain, but he's glad all the safety equipment held up.
Hi there, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Maria LaRosa. Pretty uneventful end to summer, at least on the calendar. Weather-wise, pretty quiet for this evening. Generally speaking, though, you'll see the clouds on the increase, and temperatures, though, that will stay in the 70s. So 73 by 6 p.m., mostly cloudy skies overnight. Do have a chance to see a few showers. This is not a washout where we're going to be waking up to heavy rainfall, but more of that flow out of the southeast, just keeping things unsettled, just enough for a spotty shower here or there. And really, that's how it's going to be for most of the day on Wednesday as well. So not much in the way of sun and occasional shower. Definitely muggier too. The humidity will be increasing. So the combination of the clouds and that humidity keeping things pretty mild by tomorrow morning. 70 degrees for the low in the city, into the 60s from White Plains, Islip, Poughkeepsie, Sussex, and into Trenton.
helping neighbors and neighborhoods. New York Live takes us on the food tour that's putting Queens in the spotlight.
Today I'm meeting up with the man behind a food tour that gives back to immigrant-run mom-and-pop restaurants in different neighborhoods in Queens. We're here in Elmhurst where the initiative began. Okay, Brian, tell me what Homecoming Elmhurst is and what inspired you to create it.
It was a love letter to this neighborhood. It was a love letter to where I grew up and to Queens. My family immigrated here when I was 3 years old. I grew up all across these neighborhoods. And, we wanted to create Homecoming as an opportunity to do two things. Support the places and the restaurants that we've loved like this entire time, and at the same time, support the neighbors that are going through food insecurity, that are going through hardship, and it's only getting worse because of COVID.
And then how is the food tour born out of that?
We didn't just want to, do something with food insecurity. We wanted to do something that would really get people into the neighborhood, but also have a relationship with the neighborhood. These are long-standing, decades or more long restaurant owners that have been immigrants working really hard to make it in America. Then we had the other component. When we sell a ticket, we can include a donation to a food pantry in the area.
This is one of the locations on the tour.
Yep.
Coco.
So Coco Malaysian is one of the restaurants I grew up eating at. This is roti canai, and it's this flatbread, that you dip with the sauce that's like a potato and chicken curry.
I love all of the flavors that come with any sort of Thai food or Malaysian food. It's all there. Okay, Brian, tell me where we are now and what we have in front of us.
Yep, we are in a restaurant named M Khao Mun Kai, and this is a Thai restaurant, and right in front of us is their signature dish, Khao Mun Gai. Before the pandemic, actually, they had only one dish in this restaurant. Can you imagine?
That's when you know it's good.
Now instead of one, it's 3 dishes. Right? And it's simple.
All the flavors. It's so simple, but at the same time, I've never had anything like this.
Right.
Cheers to all of the good that you're doing. Please don't stop.
Thank you.
New surveillance video shows the moments leading up to a melee between a group of tourists and a Carmine's restaurant hostess. That group says the hostess used a racial slur. The newly released video has no audio, and it's not clear what was said, if anything. But it does show who raised the first fist. News 4's Ida Siegel is on the Upper West Side to walk us through the confrontation.
Outside Carmine's tonight, protesters blocking the front entrance, urging customers to leave. They are angered by what happened here last week, saying that fight caught on tape was not simply a group of unvaccinated women attacking a hostess, but rather restaurant customers responding after the hostess allegedly used racial slurs.
After she dropped the N-bomb, the 3 women did a double take and followed her out the restaurant, and that's the melee you saw.
An attorney representing the women from Houston says his clients are in fact vaccinated and provided evidence of that. The fight was never about their vaccination status.
So that's completely false, and that narrative has been used to criminalize these women and try to help Carmine's and this hostess save face in the light of their bad acts.
Carmine's has now told us a new, more detailed version of the story with new surveillance video. They now admit the 3 women did show their vaccine cards, as did a second part of their party, and all of them were escorted inside. But a third group, also in their party, did not show proof of vaccination, and they were not allowed in. The restaurant says the women came back out trying to convince managers to let their friends in. And here is where you first see the hostess who was later attacked. She's an Asian woman and appears agitated. A co-worker ushers her away. A short time later, the vaccinated portion of the party re-enters the restaurant and on the way in, passes that hostess briefly. The women appear triggered and turn suddenly to run back out, where they confront the hostess from behind and a fight ensues. The surveillance video has no audio, so there's no way to verify what the hostess might have said to the group of women. The restaurant says the women never mentioned a racial slur at the time. Protesters are still calling for that hostess to be fired. Reporting from the Upper West Side, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
Thank you so much for joining us on News 4 Now. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.